using my mic and my computer to talk to each other.
Mine just started doing that. I don't know. How's my audio tonight, you guys?
This is just a way to get try to get a really a situation until I get comfortable. Then I can move to OBS and do a more professional job.
Like, yeah, you can do it. If you're gonna have a guest on, though, you have to put virtual kills and do a bunch of stuff unless you change it. But just to do multi-streaming, you can build up all kinds of broadcasting, and you can have all of it at the same time. It's not that hard. If I can do it, I can do it.
What's nice is I can simulcast on YouTube too. Oh, good. What Brad is you could hear me. Hey, is it that big of a distraction? So, and yeah,
you've got to really go ahead.
I was saying, I'm separating the two, the Bible study, the Journey to the Bible. So I've got a separate channel, and then I've got on a winner. So with my of course, I got my main channel, which is Dip 6545. So, hey, oh, I see chat. See that's the reason why. This is the reason why I want to do it, because I can see One Bread 2A in my chat, and that makes you have audio just a choppy. Yay! And so I mean, it's easy when you can do things like that. Work.
Yeah, but it works.
It works. It may not be right now, but it's like I've been telling people on my I do my reading through the Bible reading. It's a learning curve. I'm doing all of this on my own. No one's showing me what to do, so I'm basically learning this on my own. So eventually, it's bad. Go back over for it. You sound good here now. So, and then is that on Rumble or is that on? You want to check out my YouTube and check too. So, yay! I just like it's getting there. Okay, you're being patient with me on while I try to figure it out. So, yay! So if I get more, if I can just get some more interaction and build up my, I guess, my strings, interaction with other people, that'd be great. And Clifford says check on YouTube also. But so with that out of the way, and then I'm gonna have to do a cleaner. I know my cleaner says there's some drives. I got like 10 drives that need to be updated and all sorts of stuff. I think the reason why things went right for but the important thing is I can stream through Rumble, which will carry over to YouTube. Let's see. Hold on. Let me check YouTube. Yeah, I think there's something about the audio settings in Rumble. It takes a while to get it cleared up because I think setting that it adjusts or something because I noticed that on some of my review it gets choppy and things. Ooh, I got more people in. Ooh,
Getting all excited.
I am. The only thing is not about how to. I think I've got that on how to also how to share videos too. So it's just going to take a while. I mean, if
That's
I'm sorry.
sharing videos there. That's where it's kind of weird. Like Zoom has its own share. You can share to YouTube or another place. I haven't been able to find where you can share to multiple places. Like that's what I do. I just up to YouTube every morning to press the Bible study, but it'll only do one feed. I don't know if there's a plugin for Zoom. I doubt. I've never found one. But with OBS, but OBS is just so buggy. It's hard to remember how to get the Zoom thing hooked up to the OBS to get it to broadcast. There's a process, and nobody I've found anybody out there hundreds of videos how to use OBS. Either they don't have control or they just don't tell you.
Yeah,
Tina. Feel like I'm a retard. So,
Tina's in. Chris is back on video. Known in video. Known sound. Picture frozen on Chris. Listening, not hearing, but a weird word here or there.
Yeah, that's you're out really bad. Then you're completely gone. But it was kind of like just pop of your voice. And I said, hear the voice, but it sounds like crashing waves or
wonder. It could be. Let's see. Do I? I wonder if it's my hand. So, okay.
Is it also?
So you can hear me. Okay, so that's there's no sound but 5x5 my end. Alright, so there's a sound on my screen. I wonder, hold on, let me see something. I wonder, that's what it is. I know what it is. I know what it is. I know what it is. Let me get back.
She figured it out.
I'm pretty sure I know what it is. Let me see.
Good.
Let me get back here. Oh, come on. No. Alright, my share screen. Okay. Entire screen. That's what it is. For some reason. Okay, when I share my Zoom meeting in Rumble, there is not a shared audio on my window. So I can either do the entire screen. I wonder if I can do that. I wonder if that would work. Alright. Come on. Are you not going to let me share? It may not. Okay, I may have to just, if it gets to be an issue, I just may have to, shut down the screen, the share screen. It says to share audio, share a tab or screen instead. So I have to. So The only other way to do that would be to put Zoom under like under a browser.
Clifford said your YouTube sound's working good now.
Okay, let's see. It doesn't work. The only thing is the I don't like with that is it shows the screen, but it shows the echo. Alright, so maybe it's not gonna work like I hoped it would. Yeah, because there's for some reason, if you go through Rumble, the Rumble app, and the desktop app on if you go through the desktop, Rumble and Zoom, they don't like each other.
That's weird. Oh, nothing. Zoom doesn't like anything. Uh-oh. It said it was working good, and it says now Clifford says it's gone from YouTube.
Yeah, because I took down the screen share.
Oh.
So, yeah, so I took down the screen share since they weren't able to hear you. So there's got to be, and like I said, it goes back to, it won't, if I do it through the window, it will not allow me to do the audio. Bummer.
Weird.
Unless, let me see. Hold on. No, that's only gonna work, I think, on, I may have, I thought I had it figured out, guys, because I really...
Yep, I almost had it. You're getting there.
Yeah, hold on. Well, it's a presentation, so it should. You would think it would work. Do it. No, Chris. Bummer. Until I can figure out the audio. And see, that's the reason why, probably through OBS. Vigilator doesn't like OBS, by the way. Says it stinks. But, and I got 2 people on YouTube. So how was the YouTube going? It probably was the same problem. Oh, YouTube was working? Oh.
Yeah, he said it was working good, but it's gone now, but you took it down. So
yeah.
Sounds like when you had it up, it was working well.
So, isn't that weird? But it
Pretty
won't
weird.
work on Rumble, but it will on YouTube?
Yeah. Rumble is an odd one too, though. They just changed things there a couple months ago, and I think people were they were having problems with it. The users were saying it wasn't working properly, or they had done something. When they monetized everything, they screwed a bunch of stuff up.
Well,
They made it worse.
Okay, well, I'm going to stop the live stream. So, guys, thank you for being my guinea pig. So, until I can figure out how to get this, yeah.
No, Clifford said the audio on YouTube is working, but shows Rumble Studio.
Yeah.
Well, that's because she's broadcasting. Yeah, you're broadcasting that.
Because I'm doing it through Rumble.
Yeah.
Which is weird. So, because if I do my Zoom, and you would think that there is a way to share my audio so you could hear.
Yeah.
Well, wait a minute. Let me see. Share sound. I wonder if that's the reason why. Oh, probably not. Because that's through Rumble. Let me see. Alright, come on. Alright, hi. Oh, here we go. That will work. It may not work. So, the screen share. So, see if that worked. So, no, that not working either. Yeah, you can't. I can't screen share through Rumble or annotation Zoom. I can't screen share See, that gets. I don't understand why you would do the. See, the whole thing with the entire screen is you get multiple. You get multiple versions. You get the echo of the screen.
Yeah.
Which,
Yeah.
which I don't understand Rumble doing that. But okay, that takes care of that, guys. Thank you again. Thank you for coming on and helping me with that. Although I almost wish I could keep it up since it seems to be, working through Rumble.
You're getting there.
Yeah.
It's a matter of time to figure it out. The problem is, you remember, you do it, and then if it breaks down later, you forget, like, how did I do that? Crud, it's been too long. Because I got mine all working 2-3 years ago, and now I can't remember how I did it. Plus, things change over time, too. They fiddle around with the controls and that.
See ya over at D Live. Thanks, One Brad A, or One Brad 2A. And I think I'm just going to go ahead and end the stream, and we'll just, like I said,
try it again next week.
Well, I'm pretty sure I know what the issue is try to figure out how I can get Zoom under the Microsoft Edge tab, which stinks, because that would be such a great way. Unless I just go ahead and do through simulcast through YouTube, if I can do that, if YouTube does live. I just got to figure out how to do it on YouTube and not.
I can try it.
You know?
Yeah.
So. But anyway.
What I don't like about Rumble is you have to sign a thing that your content belongs to them. It's like, really? You didn't make it. Why do I have to? And that's even if you have a paid account, they want you to do that.
Well, Rumble does that too. It just, that's
what I'm saying. Rumble does that.
Well, the only thing with Rumble is, it's not, if you look at the description, it says exclusive to Rumble, but you look at the description and it's like, there doesn't seem to be a exclusivity. It just says, you promise that you're not, you haven't signed something to somebody else,
Yeah. You don't have a contract with someone else, which is weird.
I don't have a contract with anybody else, so, when I say no, it's that way. Alright, well, I'm going to stop the stream on Rumble, so thank you guys for all of those of you who are in Rumble and YouTube. I thank you for that. Thank you for Clifford and Tina and One Bread A. 2A.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Second Amendment. Anyway. So it was fun while it lasted.
Yeah, it was a good learning experience. So what you got planned for your show tonight?
Nothing. I was hoping to talk about, okay, I gotta do this real quick. I just wanted to talk about what's going on with the whole, that's the thing, it's nothing new.
No, not really. It's odd to have it all happen at once, but it's not new. Yeah.
But,
well, Texas was it 87 or 89, they had floods like they did this weekend, and in 1933, the devastating flood. So it's just something that's fairly cyclic. And Pam said, he said he saw yellow-green sky today in D.C., and that's a sign of a tornado or a hurricane, and they had tornado warnings. So it's just that big system moving, and then the conditions are just right. It's causing a lot of problems.
Well,
and, New Mexico too.
The whole thing about that mystic. Okay, first of all, before I get to the other stuff, when you think of the word mystic, what do you think of?
Mystic? I think of Mystic Pizza, which I never saw. I don't know what it's about. That's what I think of.
when I realized the name of the camp was Mystic, what's the first thing that came into my mind was witchcraft. You know.
Kind of, yeah. Well, there's a Mystic, Connecticut too. That's the city of our town of Mystic.
So
I don't
yeah.
know. It might be a person's name. I never saw what it was named after. I just know it was named it like in 1920 or 22 when they made
Well,
the camp.
the owner of the camp, uh, Eastland, he was talking about how he died. You know, owner of the camp. Has met. There's actually a Eastland, Texas, and he died rescuing some of the girls or some of the people. So my
Oh,
question.
did he really? A lot of
Mm,
people. They said. Go ahead.
no, I was just gonna say. I'm kind of confused. Hold on a second. I mean, were there really
The
over
death rate keeps going up.
how many campers? I mean, is this all campers that are perishing? Yeah, yeah. Devon 52, magic, witchcraft. To me, that's what I first thought of when I heard the word mystic. You think about it, that. Um, Remember, rain, water. God uses water to cleanse, just like He does fire. And so I noticed someone in chat said God promised not to destroy the earth, but He promised He wouldn't destroy the earth with water again. So
Yeah, yeah,
the whole
yeah. It's interesting.
but
Yeah.
I'm thinking, well, all of this is going on. I mean, I was personally involved in a couple of incidences. One was in back in 2003 when Tropical Storm Allison, and I've brought Allison up before, hit Houston. And basically, it stalled like it was a tropical storm, and it stalled over Houston. Oh, at least 2 weeks for at least 14 days. I can't remember the exact number of days. And
There was one in Florida that did that too.
I mean,
Yeah,
it literally stalled and dumped all this rain. And of course, Houston being full of tunnels and the on Creek, it had nowhere to go. So,
yeah.
and of course, everybody focused when Harvey hit. Everybody focused on Houston, but actually, Houston did pretty well. There was a whole town wiped out, just literally in less than an hour away from me. You know, about 30 minutes away from me, got pretty much wiped out. They just now rebuilding after what 2017. So, but
Wow.
I actually I was a disaster. Let's see, what was it? I was on the disaster uh, recovery team. Basically, I worked for the insurance department, the Texas Department of Insurance, and I just went in with a team, and we basically helped people who had insurance issues, price gouging, things like that. Uh, Perry, what's his? Oh gosh, I'm having a. He was my governor, and I'm actually having a
No,
remember
I know who
his
you're
first
talking about.
name. Uh, anyway, his wife showed up at the FEMA tent that I was at, and with her little entourage. But
Hmm.
they had everybody. You know, they had all these different businesses, and they had these different recovery, uh, these support, I guess you could call it, SBA and all sorts of things.
Yeah.
The other one, I'm trying to think. God, oh yeah, and this is what is weird. Um, during so in 2000, I mean, the whole for like a period of 5 or 7 years, the mayor of Corpus went through. We went through so many changes. We went through like 3 or 4 different mayors within.
Really?
Yeah, we went like through. Yeah, because we had, let's see, was it 2012? We had an election for mayor, and then
Hmm.
there was a lack of confidence because people got upset because in Corpus, like within a period of a year, we had like 3 water boils, so they had a special election, caused some, I can't remember,
Really?
the mayor stepped
Huh.
down. The person that got elected as mayor only lasted literally 37 days. And so
Wow.
so our previous mayor, who was there for Katrina and Rita in 2005, he became, he became the new mayor. He came out of retirement, so to speak, and became mayor in 2014
Wow.
or 15. In May, this is on the Memorial Day weekend, there was a flash flood in Wimberley, which is close to San Antonio. It's a different, it's not quite, it's probably not very far from, it's closer to San Marcos, which is between San Antonio and Austin off of I-35. Anyway, and so this mayor, his daughter-in-law, his 2 grandchildren, and another family were in Wimberley, and they had warning. Even the patrol, they had either the local police or somebody, they were knocking on cabins, said, hey, you need to get out, you need to evacuate. And the guy that owned the cabin or the building structure, this made big news. And they decided to stay, and they got wiped out. So the mayor lost his daughter-in-law, his 2 grandkids, and I don't think they ever recovered
Wow.
the granddaughter's body. But his son survived, because his son wasn't there. So, and this is what these events, I think, because Joe McComb he had a reputation of being conservative. So what did we end up with in 2016, 2018, 2020, this hack of a mayor. She is definitely a globalist. She was basically, during the whole pandemic, she actually, I think they twisted her arm, the Democratic Party, from the valley, basically, because she didn't automatically the county judge was the one that, quote, shut everything down, but I think she had her arm twisted. But the mayor, I've seen, I keep track of what's going on back there, and this mayor is just a disaster. So I really believe that the events that led up to it, either, I can't help, once I learned about everything that happened, I just can't help but wonder if he was not warned and he didn't go along with the agenda, and so this was basically a punishment, or of some sort. I don't know. I think it's
They
all.
do that.
I think it's
They
all.
do that.
I think it's
Yeah,
all
connected.
connected. But
Agreed.
even my former boss went in. He went in to help with the recovery, but one of the. So it was a doctor and his wife, and I believe it was the wife's body was found like in Caldwell County, which is like over 100 miles away. Because the river, or the water swept her body all the way into a different county.
Well, that one girl that they found Sunday, or was it Monday, way up in that tree, she had gone down the river 23 miles. They actually were in a cabin. It was her mom and dad, and her aunt and uncle, I think. And they saw that the water was coming up, and they jumped in the car and took off, but the water caught up to them. And the roof. And the mom and dad and the girl grabbed onto each other. I think they clung to a tree, but the water was at her dad's back, and she said that they lost him really fast. That the uncle and aunt, I guess, didn't get anywhere. They just died right there. But the dad got washed away, and then the water hit the tree and finally dislodged them. I think the tree came uprooted or something, and they both ended up leaving the tree but hanging onto each other, but the water pulled them apart, and she never saw her mom again. And she ended up in that tree way up there. It was like 30 feet up in the air, and they had to rescue her. The guy was at his house. They left and they came back, I think he said. And he was standing there, and he heard somebody yelling, but he thought they were in the river getting washed away, and I think he just assumed they were going to die, so he wasn't going to do anything. That's the impression I got, which makes sense. But he kept hearing this yelling, and he looked around. He finally spotted her way up in the tree, and I think she was across. You say she was across the river from him? I can't remember now. But he stood on his deck, and they got some kind of. They tried to call 911, and they did, but they never showed up. So he got in his car and drove somewhere and found somebody and dragged them back. And they had a bullhorn, and they were yelling at her that they were coming for her. But she'd been up in the tree. Excuse me. She said the water came in at 4 o'clock in the morning, and she'd been up in the tree. I don't remember for how long, but they didn't find her until 8 o'clock. But they rescued her out of the tree, and she called her cousin who lost the parents. They both lost parents that day.
Well, I know I have not. I mean, other than knowing that things like this is happening, I haven't really listened to much of the recovery or anything like that because, well, for one thing, there's really not anything I can do about it. And, it's all sad. It's all, my first thought is, okay, what's the agenda? What are they trying to distract everybody from? I mean, there's so much going on.
Well, Tim Walz. Yeah, remember the guy that shot the senator and her husband?
Yeah.
That all got buried as soon as this flood started up. That was all big news, and then this propitiously came along, and everybody forgot about that. And the guy that had Tim Walz supposedly hired or told to go kill Amy Klobuchar, all that stuff is gone. It's like it never happened. But I think it's weird about the Texas thing is they at first said there were 81 people that were found dead and there were 40 more missing. But every day there are more. It's like now there's 90 people found, but there's 60 missing. And then they kept, no, we've got 110 people, but we're missing 175. It's like the numbers keep going up. A week later, the numbers are still going up for the amount of people who are missing, which is weird. But maybe it's just because they're trying to figure out who was at the campground, because I guess a lot of the trailers got washed away.
Well, that's the thing. How many were at the campground over that? But, you think about something else. If you think about the tunnels, I mean, because knowing that there's so many tunnels that we never even knew about, what if they're...
Well, they have sewer systems in cities that are they were built in tunnels. That's how the sewer systems work.
Yeah, but what if some of these tunnels, had like kids in them, because you notice how much of this is about kids. They all talk about the kids at the camp and things like that. But and did you hear about the doctor under Biden? He went to testify today and he pleaded the fifth. Did you see that?
Yeah, the guy is guilty of seditious conspiracy and treason because by pretending there was nothing wrong with him when he clearly had problems, that doctor allowed him to usurp the president's seat that he should have vacated. The whole thing, that doctor needs to be put in jail and tried for treason and seditious conspiracy and appropriate, I will say this because I know what I think should happen to him, appropriate sentencing be carried out. Mm-hmm. So he can keep his mouth shut, but the whole world saw it.
Or did they? Because are they focusing on the weather, because right now look at what's happened, and the whole thing about the seeding, the geoengineering on the clouds, and they're trying to say, oh, rainmaker. I mean, what kind of name is rainmaker?
Yeah, they're gaslighting us too. Now, Trump's got his hands full of all the other junk going on, and with the Epstein BS happening, and all that stuff is just.
I think the most interesting things about the whole Epstein thing is, you remember all those rallies? He told he says, if I tell them not to build a border wall, they're going to do it. So I kind of wonder if that whole thing, because now look how they're screaming. Because just a month ago they were screaming, release the Epstein files, all the liberals. And then because of what happened, the shooting with the Tim Walz people, or the two Democrats, that just kind of went by the wayside. So now
it just vanished like it never happened. Jeez. People forget. Now, a year from now they'll be like, what, that happened?
So now they're screaming all over again. So it just, I don't know. Like I said, my thing is President Trump said in his first term they've got them all. So why do we have to go through the sham of having these investigations? These investigations should be completed by now, I would think.
Partly because in order to carry out the death penalty on certain people that have been household names for a long time, there are people that have to see it and understand what crimes were that happened. They need to, I think that's what it's about, is exposing. It's an evolution of getting people like Clinton and Obama, who were very high profile. Look at like Swalwell, Chinese spy guy. I mean, all these people, once they realized what was actually being done by them and for what purposes and what their plans were for the American people, the depopulation of the United States. Once people realize, even the nitwits that took the shot in their dome, once that light bulb comes on, they're going to demand their pound of flesh. So it'll make it a lot easier to prosecute and carry out sentencing. I mean, instead of slapping them in jail for 5 or 10 years, they get the next stretch, because treason carries with it a death penalty, as it should. And these people, people need to see it and understand it and back it, because otherwise they'll just say, oh, it's just persecution. No, when they find out, wait a minute, you people screaming persecution, when you find out they wanted you dead too, and your kids, and vaccine damaged, and then bleed you dry till you die. When that light bulb comes on, you see how vicious the left are, how the Antifa and the pink-haired ladies and the purple-haired ladies, you see how vicious and violent they are. Wait till they take their eyes off the fake target and put it on the real one. If you go read about the French Revolution, those ladies and creepy guys, you point them in the direction of people that wanted them and their kids dead, they might just do the job for us. I mean, look what they're doing. They're going nuts.
Well, look at Talib and Omar. I mean, why are they still in Congress? Why is Swalwell still in Congress?
It's getting exposed. If you see, little by little, you see little dribbles of it in X, and then pretty soon it's a flood, and then President Trump will make a comment. I've seen this over and over again over the years, where he'll make a kind of a side reference to something and move along really fast, and then maybe a legislator like Luna might say something that kind of along the same lines, like vote fraud. I remember President Trump said, after the big beautiful bill is passed, then we go after the election integrity. We're going after election fraud. And just a little blurb like the week before the bill went through. And then you start seeing bubbles here, little bubbles coming to the surface of various politicians in X talking about, oh, vote fraud here, vote fraud there. And next it'll be a dam breaking. And they're getting people, they're saturating people, they're getting the light, they're opening it up so people, it's in their subconscious. So they're expecting it, and then when it comes, they can say, okay. It's a process. Yeah, some people can't see things or be told things. But it takes time because you can't just dump it all on people at once, or else it's like overload, info overload, and people can't handle it all.
Well,
I don't know if they'd lose their minds. I think they'd just shut down and just blow it out, say, no, I don't want to hear any of it. I don't want, nope, just leave me alone. I just want to sit here on my Game Boy and do my thing. I don't want to, it's like, and I've seen people actually doing that. So they dribble too much information out at once and it messes with them.
well, I'll tell you what, I'm beginning to, what you said about the shot just kind of, I don't know, making people lose their mind or, because I mean, I sent a text to family members, do a group text, and, it was on 4th of July, and I, put in, where there's the Spirit of the Lord, there's freedom, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the response that was given was, oh, just imagine we got a felon in the White House and he wants to throw, there's that whoever came up with that thing about, and he wants to throw people to the alligators. I'm like, what does that have to do with the meme I sent you? Anytime that anybody starts something like with the 30, to be fair, there might have been something, it wasn't necessarily against President Trump. It may have been one of those, you're an idiot type thing, but anytime somebody sits there and starts out calling him a felon, and by the way, those charges have been gone away. You got Letitia James, you got Fannie Willis. They're in the hot seat, and so nobody knows that they've gone away. And
There's so much,
and the whole alligator Alcatraz thing where, oh, they're gonna throw them in the, oh my gosh,
like everybody goes after the shiny thing and then forgets what's behind them. But yeah, the guy that I had on as a guest, he saw papers on the damage that the shots do to people within a week with the brain, is how it damages the brain and causes problems. It's interesting, actually. He likes to study, and he likes to retain it. He retains it. So, yeah, Devin says, imagine trying to rebuild trust in government. Well, think about this. After the Epstein thing, after they put the kibosh on that, and they were gaslighting the American people, that was handled. I don't know if they purposely handled that poorly. I can't imagine what their reasoning is. Maybe to annoy the opposition. But that could have been, they should have just been said, there are things we can't release. And at this point right now, it's just, we got a lot we have to do. And it's going to be a long time before we can put it out because we have tens of thousands of hours of kitty porn that we have to. It's like, really, how much of that do you need to really know about? Once you get the people, I don't know. But anyway, there were thousands of hours of tapes from the island that she talked about. They had to go through all of it. And I'm like, yeah, what a horrible job. But now they're acting like it never happened. That's gaslighting people to get trust in the government and President Trump. They lost some street cred with that big time. And they tried to cover it up by having Bondi, their next president, or one person away. I think Rubio was in between, but she looked nervous. She did a terrible presentation defending herself. She acted like she was really agitated. It was just very strange, a strange press conference. But for her to kind of backpedaling what she'd said and trying to say, no, this is what I meant, that just made it look worse. And I should have just said, look, yeah, we screwed up. We made a mistake. Sorry about that. We'll try to do better next time. But yeah, we're working on it. Just give us some time. That's all they had to say instead of like, oh, I never said that. That never happened. It's like, shut up. Yeah. Everybody knows. Everybody was talking about it. It's just crazy. So yeah, they did a lot of damage to the administration.
Yeah. Well, but I mean, I noticed, like, and I brought this up before. I noticed, about a month or so ago. In fact, when she was talking about, I noticed that she had dark circles under her eyes, and I
Yeah,
mean, when you notice it, and she's losing sleep, so it makes me
yeah.
wonder if some of that stuff that she saw or whoever went through has to do with the satanic rituals. You know?
Well, people, yeah, that too. People noticed that she wasn't wearing her cross when she went out there and lied to the people. I don't know if that was part of it. I don't know. But it's just weird. Now, you have to remember that some of the things they do, they're not, they can tell us certain things, but they're also telling the enemy things. The people who are trying to take them down are going to be hearing the same thing, so they have to be careful what they release. So by saying we're not going to do it, might give them a false sense of security, so they carry on and commit more crimes, so they can catch more of them. I don't know what. I mean, there's psychological things. I get that, but they did it for a reason. I mean, we just don't have all the information.
Yeah.
Honestly, we don't know what's going on. So I'm guessing there's a lot of smart people running things. So I'm guessing that they have it under control. But who knows what? I was just thinking tonight when Heidi was talking about Elon Musk and Dodge and stuff. We don't know what all Dodge got into and what they found. What did they dig up? Because, they were put into certain computer systems, but as we find out today, Comey had a secret room. And they're just now finding out about, well, I guess it was April. They found out about the secret room where it's got a bunch of stuff in it. So how about secret rooms in computers? Secret partitions that they find. Maybe Dodge's little computer crawlers found a bunch of that stuff. And they're working with that right now. We don't know. We have no clue what they found. I don't know about the Elon Musk thing. I never have trusted that guy because he's part of a ruin, but now people are like, oh, he's a great guy. And I just had such bad feelings about him.
Uh-huh.
He played a part. He
Yeah.
played a part, but is he angry or is he really letting his true self show now? Maybe. I don't know. Could be a
Or
game, but
or
who
is it
knows?
or is it just a psyop between him and President Trump? You know, if it's
It's hard to say, but
because
it seems
and I've listened to some other person, and they said that, like Mark Rubio, people were talking about how, remember in this first administration, he was a rhino, blah blah blah, and but someone was saying that he and President Trump used to go golfing together. So I don't know. And the other,
Rubio had puppet strings, and I think they got cut. He had some dirt on him, and President Trump, somebody wanted him freed up. I just remember, I remember hearing about him in the gay hot tub with all the. I always called him Bubbles because he was caught in a bubble bath in a bathhouse, in a homo bathhouse. So there were probably pictures taken. Maybe he was drugged, but we don't know. Something happened that President Trump cut those strings for him, and now he's part of the administration doing a good job.
yeah.
So I don't know. We don't know all
Well,
that stuff.
and I've also heard that the possibility of a lot of that Epstein stuff has been turned over to the military because, military is the only way, But I mean,
Well,
everybody still keeps, or I should say, everybody. There are people that, keep thinking, okay, the military is going to step in. Is the question is when, if that happens, when,
yeah, well, they might step in. I know that General Flynn, when he was asked about court martial or what do they call it, military tribunals, he didn't even think about it. He says, no, there's not going to be any of those. I mean, it wasn't something he had to think about. As soon as the question was asked, he's no military. And he was very adamant about that. I don't know why. I thought it was interesting, though. Pew did say the military is the only way. Now, is that quelling the Antifa crap and going after the money end of things? Because they did step in California to get rid of the illegals. Was the military the only way about the illegals? Possibly, because that might be what has to be. I think it is what has to be done. But they're not getting rid of them fast enough. I'd like to see, and I've said this for years and years, put a bounty on their heads and let the American people haul them in to a spot, and then they can be checked and deported and the people get the bounty and they don't have to pay tax on it. The money comes from the aid packages we send to the country of origin. And when enough of that money is taken out of that aid package, the governors or the presidents of those countries will put a wall up and stop them from coming here because they want to keep that money. They want that money that we send to them. And I heard, what's his name? The bulldog looking guys say kind of the same thing about 3 or 4 months ago, that they were talking about putting bounties on them, on the illegals, and having the American people just go get them. I think they wanted to get rid of the really dangerous ones first, like the MS-13 and the Trent Dogma. Get rid of them first, and then the people go after them.
Well, this whole stupid thing. Oh, they're sending in they're arresting American citizens. No, they're not. I mean, just because they were born here, if they had parents that were illegal, does not make them American citizens.
Right. Anchor babies. Yes, they're talking about reversing that anchor baby poll, which is not. It was made for a different time for different people. It was made after the Civil War for the black people, but they need to rescind that and fix that because technically, if you look at it, Kamala Harris is an anchor baby.
Oh yeah,
she's an anchor baby. We can deport her before she tries to be governor. Yeah, a dirty bunch of stuff. But I think that's part of what the military stuff was about, was to help clean up the vote fraud and all that.
And then, I mean, how is it that Karen Bass, we know her history. She was a part of the bombing of the White House, and yet she
should be in prison. She should still be in prison.
Why is she still? Yes. She's still mayor. She's going out trying to interfere with ICE. She went into the park. The park. She went to that park and tried to interfere with ICE.
Oh yes, I saw that.
See,
which is also
again, that kind of stuff is getting overlooked because the weather,
Yeah.
There's just so much getting overlooked. I mean, I try not to listen to a lot of. I don't want to know about the news anymore. I'm to the point where I don't want to know unless they start making. I mean, there's been a lot of. Believe it or not, there's been some low-hanging fruit because last week I talked about there was 3 major stories that have gotten, with healthcare fraud that has been, billions and billions of dollars. And not just millions, but billions. You're looking at over $100 billion that have been recovered.
Somebody listed that, yes, tonight about Newsom, the billions of dollars missing just under him for the rail, for just all kinds of things, billions and billions of dollars just gone up missing. Nobody's ever accountable for it. Same in Washington State. They all play on the same playbook. They just steal the money and dare you to do anything about it. It's going to get done. Things will be done.
I hope sooner than later, because I hope.
Me too.
Before the end of the year, because I'm like, I think a lot of us are battle weary, and we're just tired of.
Yeah.
Even the Civil War was. Let's see. I wouldn't say. We went into a recovery mode within 5 years, right? And think of World War One. World War One was in recovery mode within 5 years. So we've been building this up for decades. This has been the groundwork for this was laid 100 years ago, but they really went into earnest when they changed the school curriculum and took the Bibles out of schools and put the communists in to teach the kids. They needed the generations. So this has been building up, and it's systemic. You look at the kids coming out of the schools for the last 20 years, they're destroyed. They're communists. They have no idea. It's like they all win a trophy and everybody you can't find any good workers and they're the next generations of our politicians. They need to be educated. I don't know if you can deprogram them. So there's a lot of kids, a whole generation of people who are basically here to take over and kill us all, really. And it takes a lot of work. It's going to take a lot of work to fix it. Where do you see that? Well, did you see that about was it? I don't remember if it's through the IRS or the Supreme Court, but uh, the the churches are now going to be able to talk politics without worrying about
Yeah.
losing. Well, President Trump did that in his first administration. He reversed the Johnson Amendment. You
Yeah.
know,
Well, the thing is, it's always been legal because unless you're a 501c3, then they can try to pretend to shut you up.
right?
But if you're not a 501c3, you don't have anything to worry about. I know my church I went to, he was very vocal in politics. He even had a local radio show that he did, very critical of government, and he was a 501c3. And he says, I never set that up. And if they take it away, I don't care. I'm not here for that. He says, I'm getting the truth out. And I think Hibbs said kind of the same thing.
Well, it was funny because I saw some of the comments and we got to keep the separation. It's like make them pay taxes. Well, they shouldn't have to pay taxes because they got the First Amendment right.
Yeah.
So they don't
Yep.
have to pay taxes in the first place. That's what
No.
and that I mean you notice that when with because of the 501c3 and that is the reason why they were shut up about Roe v. Wade in the first place.
Yeah. Well, also the good thing Trump was talking about getting rid of the property tax.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good thing because people don't own their property when they have to pay. They're paying rent, forced rent. You don't have a choice.
Imagine being so I mean, and I got to think about that, especially after that, like I said, that response to my, happy 4th of July meme. And I'm thinking, imagine being so brainwashed. You've been enslaved for so long. And when a man comes along to give you the keys to open the door and you reject it,
Yeah.
That's
all.
And you just laugh. But when you think about it, Moses, look at Moses. Moses, took the children out of Israel or out of Egypt. And what did the children do? The Israelites do? Were they happy? No. They complained and they wanted to go back to slavery. Think of, Jesus. It's just this whole thing about the felon. Jesus died, people bearing false witness. Jesus died.
No.
It wasn't just that Jesus died on the cross for our sins. Yes, that was God's plan, but there were liars that, there were liars. There were people. He was mocked. He was ridiculed, and yet, and these people that sit there and say President Trump is the Antichrist, and I'm just like, oh gosh. I get so annoyed with all of that. I get so frustrated.
Well, they're seeking information. That's the best they can do with what they've got at the time. And there's a lot. Oh my God, the Jew hate and disinformation is off the freaking hook. Unbelievable. And if you read your Bible, just read your Bible. You won't be deceived. God will show you. It was the Pharisees, the jealousy of the Pharisees, not all the Jews, just the Pharisees, the ones that wanted all the accolades and sit in the high places and behind mucky muck like Nancy Pelosi and
the elites.
Yeah, and then they handed Jesus over to the Gentiles. It wasn't the Jews. They handed him to the Gentiles who put him to death. So think about that. It says, it's the Jews, they killed him, they killed Jesus. It's like, no, they didn't. They didn't. Go read the Bible sometime. If you're going to about history, go read the actual account. It's crazy.
Yeah.
That's me crazy.
Yeah, they turned, to the Romans, and then even Pilate didn't want to have, Pilate.
Who was it? Missler said he thinks he'll see Pilate in heaven. I think he might. He didn't want to put him to death. He liked him. I think he intrigued him.
Well, he was more afraid of the Roman, and he was afraid of the Pharisees and Sadducees, and he was also afraid of the emperor of Rome at the time, and what he would do. So because it was all about. keep it not, he was trying to keep the uh, the people the people from rebelling.
happy. Keep him from rioting. Yeah, he was in a tough spot, really. He was in a tough spot. And it's like when they killed John the Baptist. He didn't want to kill John the Baptist. He was kind of tricked into it
Herod.
by his creepy wife. And the other, yeah. So it's like those are two of the big deaths in the New Testament that were very tragic. I mean, Jesus was here to die, obviously. He didn't come here to live. He came here to die because he knew we needed him to die for us. And it was a mission he had. A lot of people that escaped some. The whole purpose for him being here was his death. And it wasn't a tragedy, it was a victory.
Mm-hmm.
And he overcame death. The Bible talks about him overcoming death in the grave. So he did that for us. And had they not done that, had they not taken him out and killed him, we'd be going to hell, all of us. So in a handbasket, no less.
Yeah. Well, this is what.
Yeah. So anyway, I got to get going to bed. I got to get up and.
I do too.
What's that?
I actually have to go to work. I mean, I tell you what, God is so good. So far, I have this summer for the summer camp. I haven't had to work a Wednesday yet. I still got a few more weeks to go before summer camp is over. But I have not had to work Wednesday, but I have had to work Thursdays. But I don't think I could do. I don't think I could work.
Well, I'm praying for you that you get.
I don't think I could work on a Wednesday night and then come on and do this.
That'd be hard. Yeah, I'm praying that you get some extra money coming in so you don't have to worry about money. That's a stressful situation, especially in California where everything's so expensive.
Well, interesting enough, so I don't know where they got the idea that the whole gas tax was supposed to take place July the 1st. So far, it's still been steady. It's been except for the base, but it's been pre 4th of July.
Yeah, ours did that too on the 1st, and it didn't go up that I saw, so it must be incremental or something. They're up to.
I mean, it's been where I'm at. I can't speak of all of California, but where I'm at, it hasn't increased. If anything, it's decreased by a penny or two. Maybe.
No, ours hasn't decreased. Oh no, it hasn't decreased. Ours is still up.
My understanding, it wasn't supposed to take place until January the 1st, but what do I
know? Maybe that's what I thought it was July. Ours is July 1st is when it was supposed to. But yeah, it just stinks because everybody else like $2.35 for gas. I'm like, really? Well, that's what communists do. They have everything so expensive, they lose everything you own so they can own it all, and then you have to rent from them, and then they squeeze you and they have control over you.
Well, the whole thing is usually, I mean, that's what they do. Well, they jack up the price, and then when they bring it down 5 cents, you're thinking, oh, relief, and then they jack it back up. And they do it around the holidays. It's always around the holidays.
Yeah.
It's always around summer, and they say it's to stimulate the economy so you could go travel, and of course the California has these additives for summer blend. I'm like, are you kidding me?
Ours too. Ethanol.
Yeah.
Now it's year round. So they're sticking cheap alcohol in with expensive gas year round.
And to kind of get back to the whole flooding thing in Texas. I mean, did you see that where who came up with the nonsense that it was somehow President Trump's fault? I was like, talking about no king. Oh, that's the other thing. Did you hear anything about any no king's protest over the weekend? I didn't.
Oh yeah. Oh, I don't know about this weekend, but it's stupid. That flopped. It flopped horribly. They even had to admit it on X.
I wonder if that's the reason. I mean, what are the odds of? Okay, there's supposed to be a no king's protest for 4th of July, but yet we're focusing on a flood. I actually worked for.
Well, things changed. That flood changed a lot. That flood changed the course of our news cycle, which they love, because then they take your eyes off of Tim Walz and Gavin Newsom and all the rest of the crooks and put it on dying children. Oh, geez, some of the things those politicians like Elizabeth Warren, they were the old governor of Washington State politicizing they hadn't even found all the kids. And, oh, it's climate change. That's what you get. That's what you get. Gee, it looked really bad for him. But Elizabeth Warren pulled kind of the same thing. So, yeah, they're shooting themselves in the foot. What a bunch of imbeciles.
Well, did you see that one about the doctor, or it was a doctor? Yeah, a doctor, pediatrician of all things, saying that the kids got what they deserved.
Oh, the whole bunch of them said that. There's a thing on X that shows probably 15 different people saying that same thing. That one I think was in Texas. The pediatrician I think was in Texas.
Yeah, they said
what?
They said she was fired, but the one thing I saw was that she was on administrative leave and hadn't technically been fired.
Oh, which means a paid vacation. Administrative leave is paid vacation. Right. Get out of here.
Yeah, they'll probably hire her back after everything died down.
Yep. I'll get her back in there. Well, I'm out of here, girl. You have a great show, and everybody, thanks for being here, and hope you enjoyed. I'll see you guys later, and Deb, have a great show. Be blessed and stay safe.
Thank you. Thanks for talking.
Oh, by the way, you guys, I still have the sale on till the 15th for silver hydrosol and stuff like that. So go to my website and grab it while it's half price. You can get a good deal. Anyway, over and out. You guys have a good one. Good night. Good night, Deb.
Good night. All right. A wing and a prayer. Seen here on Patriots Soapbox Thursday mornings from 2 a.m. to 5 a.m. Eastern. So adjust for your time zone. And if you missed it earlier, I was doing a live stream through Rumble. If you are just now joining us, so you missed the fun, and I was trying to figure out how we could do live streaming, and I want to do more of that, so I'm still working things out and trying to figure it out. So in the meantime, I am going to start my share of what am I going to do?
Finally, my brethren, be strong in the Lord and in the power of his might. Put on the whole armor of God, that you may be able to stand against the wiles of the devil. For we do not wrestle flesh and blood against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of Satan's wickedness in the heavenly places. For God be able to withstand an evil day, and having done to stand. Having girded your waist with truth, having put on the breastplate of righteousness with the preparation of gospel of peace. Above all, taking the shield of faith to be able to quench all of the fiery darts of the wicked one, and take the spirit with the word of God, praying always with all prayers of the King Spirit, being watchful to all the perseverance and supplication for all the saints, that is given to me, that I may open my mouth boldly to make known the mystery of the gospel, for which I am an ambassador in chains, and will be so, that in it I may speak boldly. Amen.
God, may the fullness of the Spirit of Jesus rest upon President Trump, anointed with wisdom and understanding, with knowledge and fear of the Lord. And accordingly, may President Trump not judge by what he sees with his eyes, or decide by what he hears with on his own understanding, but may he recognize your prompting and move according to your guidance. I ask that you give the President discernment to know who is trustworthy and who is not. Bring to the light all deception and intrigue. It's harm President Trump and this nation. In the name of Jesus, I break all influence that do not come from you, Father God. May your truth and peace surround and reign in the White House. I President Trump to govern at a time when there is a resurgence of oppression. Only you, Lord Jesus Christ, can anoint him to have victories over strongholds and to establish justice for the needy. Give strength, courage to persevere in the constant battle that surrounds him. I see that you have such a tender heart for President Trump. Draw him close to you. I ask for hunger for you, so that he may love you with all his heart, soul, mind, and strength, and delight in knowing you. And if he came and whispered your name, may he go forward shouting your name. In Jesus' name, in the name of my King, I bless you.
Well, that was weird. Okay, let's see where to go from here. I don't know about you guys. I'm just kind of battle weary, you know? I'm tired. I would like to see, I just want us to be able to recover. So I got a question, you know, I've asked this question before. Is there anything that President Trump could do or not do for you to lose trust in him? I personally, for me, I don't think so, because I'm willing to believe that there is something, there's something more, because I'm trusting God, actually. It's not so much Trump, President Trump, that I'm trusting, I'm trusting God. And because I go back, why put us through all this in the first place? All he did was buy us time. If Clinton was supposed to win in 2016, we would already be enslaved. We would already be, even a third of us probably would not be of this earth anymore. So, I just think that, I know there's more to it than what's going on that meets the eye. So, like I said, I trust God. You know what? I want to see God's glory. I want to see God just move in such a way that even the doubters and the scoffers and the critics, just, you can't deny it anymore, So my go-to, I would like to I wouldn't mind just playing music for the rest of the night, but I don't know how that would work out, since my computer just decided earlier just to kind of it would just be, you know, it'd be basically just us and live streaming. Uh-oh. So, let's see, this is a delta. Let's see, how many deltas do we have for the night? So we have 20 deltas for the night. Is there anything interesting here that we can do? Isn't it funny how these were all from 2019? And Jeffrey Epstein's back in the news. Child trafficking back in the news. Okay, so we can start July the 9th, 2019, 3385. You didn't think the Epstein investigation began a few months ago, did you? It was all under the direction and oversight of A.G. Sessions. Expect a lot more to come public and sealing. So, I mean, look at that. Then 3386, just a repeat. Barr not recused from E's pending cases, only pass. D fight coming. Liberal outrage coming. Pelosi's daughter inserted. Counter made simple. I wonder what Pelosi's daughter has anything to do with any of this, especially since it was her. I wonder if this is going to talk about the J6ers, because we know that Pelosi's daughter got out there and even said it was a sham. 3387. Let's see this. That's again, note past 2 years. Again, this is back in 2019. So, which would have started 2017. Note next 6 years, which would be 2025. You were told what was going to happen. You were told what battles we face: strategic, pre-planned, Patriots in control. 3388. Let's see, this is a Sarah Carter. Let's see if this will come up. Guys, if you can play nice, do I need to put you in time out? Yeah, it's funny, y'all scream, you know. Remember, there are consequences. So this is Sarah Carter post. Michael Flynn was forced to file his FARA registration in February 2017. Under extreme and unprecedented pressure from extensive interactions with the National Security Division, or including then NSD head David Loftman. And I'm going to pause this real quick. Let's see. Or stop share. Let me stop share. Hey. So there is a big direct, in brackets, reason why Flynn's new attorney is seeking clear security clearance. I'm sorry, guys. I do not trust Flynn. I do not think that who the person out there is Flynn. This is my personal opinion because I have seen his interviews. I have seen, let's just say what I have seen does not inspire me to feel confident that that is Flynn. So AG's and Rogers meeting, Durham and Rogers meetings. Why did Rogers retire? Why did Rogers visit POTUS at Trump Tower without authorization shortly after a SCIF was installed? Why did select former ABC directors call for the removal of Rogers? Why did POTUS move his transition command center base of ops from Trump Tower the very next day? And of course, I mean, anybody ever remember that when President Trump said, they're spying on, and just everybody just lost their ever-loving mind. This is 3390. So Michael Flynn changes his story, putting him on collusion with judge. It's not like, come on. No. Of course, it's my paywall. So I'm not going to. No, I'm not going to be able to. Listen, I'm not going to be able to do that. I don't know how to get rid of this drop down here. It's weird that just started to. Alright. So much Flynn news today. So I guess Lieutenant General Flynn is going to make news again. So here is the one that just. So this is 3391, and that's a repeat of 2611, which came out December the 12th of 2018. It says JFK Jr. is not alive, and it said no Q when the fake news can attack you directly using facts. So, and the idea, I mean, I have never heard of anybody, maybe in other countries, but here in the United States, I personally have not known anybody who was a junior that after senior passes away. My uncle was a junior, but he never went by senior, and he may have dropped the junior, but he didn't become senior. So this is a link came out July 9th of 2019. Democratic donor Ed Buck accused of human trafficking and revenge porn after in his home. So political political activist Ed Buck is facing new legal troubles as the mother of a man who died in his home has filed an amended civil suit accusing Buck of human trafficking and engaging in revenge porn, CBS Los Angeles reports. Interesting, Los Angeles. The new amendment is about making sure no box is left unchecked when it comes to all of the crimes that Ed Buck committed, says Jasmine. I don't like it when that. An advocate for the family of 26-year-old Gamal Moore, who was found dead of a drug overdose in Buck's home in 2017. You know, it'd be interesting to know how many of these people who were trafficked were actually, illegal immigrants, right? Did they bring them on? In fact, I've told stories. My sister, she worked for the immigration court for a few years, for 2 or 3 years, I think. Anyway, for a few years. And she said that most of them didn't even come from Mexico, that they were from like Honduras and Guatemala and El Salvador. And she told of one case. She told me of one case where the courts were so backed up. She said there was like a 5 or 10 year backup in the courts. This is back in roughly 2014 or 2015. And she also told me that there was one case she talked about that the woman didn't even want to be there. She didn't want to be here in the United States. She wanted to go back home. And there was I don't know if it's the same one, but there was one where the woman was in Bexar County and she had a daughter that was in Houston, of all places. So they had to get the paperwork from Houston so the mother and the daughter could be together. That's how screwed up the immigration courts are and overrun. So after the district attorney's office declined to file criminal charges citing insufficient evidence, where are we hearing this now? A wrongful death civil lawsuit was filed. Now attorneys for Moore's mother have filed an amendment to the lawsuit that accuses Buck of human trafficking and engaging in revenge porn by making and sharing a video of his alleged meth-fueled sexual encounters with Moore. Information we received the victims of Ed Buck loves to take pictures of these young men, loves to take videos of them in their inebriated state. Can't accept. The amendment complaint alleges that Buck regularly solicits sex from black men in exchange for temporary housing and or monetary compensation. Gamal Moore at the time was 26 years old, and Ed Buck flew him here from Texas, Connick said, and within 24 hours he died of a crystal overdose. The attorneys for Buck said in a statement that they plan on fighting these allegations vigorously in court. In January of this year, remember this is in 2019, a second man died in Buck's apartment. Authorities rule 55-year-old Timothy Dean died of an accidental meth overdose. Buck has contributed to various California races and causes. Oh, go figure. He made headlines in September 2010 when he disrupted a campaign event for then California Republican Party gubernatorial candidate Meg Whitman. He was confronted by former New Jersey Governor Chris Christie. So that's that. So the hunters become the hunted. Wasn't it just a couple of weeks ago that President Trump said the same thing? The hunters now are the hunted. So here's a future past thing. That's a good question. Ed Buck, wasn't he? Yeah, that is a good question. Was he a Hillary Clinton pal? Here we go. Here's another one. $33.93 gold standard coming back. Well, Texas. Isn't it interesting? I just realized something. In Texas last week, it was just announced that Texas is going to start using gold currency. Abbott just signed something that allows for gold, I think silver, to be used as trade. And I get to thinking about, think about the gold rush. How people used to, once they found the gold dust, and they would actually pay. Some people would pay with their, and it was based on weight. And I think if you go back to the Bible, I don't know if it has anything to go with gold and silver or not, but God made it. God, when He set up the government, and weights and measures was a very important part of the government. You didn't cheat your fellow man. And then this is just a recap of December 12th of 2018. Do we have the gold? And yes, gold shall destroy the Fed. And what's been going on with the Jerome Powell lately? President Trump has really been hammering him on lowering rates, and he hasn't done it yet. And isn't he's also even called for Jerome Powell to resign because he's not doing his job. I wonder if there's a connection here. So here is another Trump the gold standard. Here's so as President Donald Trump made his picks to 52 influential seats on the Federal Reserve Board of Governors, the price of gold surged. That may be because one of them, Judy, just a believer in the return to the gold standard, a monetary policy abandoned by the U.S. in 1971. Shelton is raising eyebrows among mainstream economists for her views, which include slashing the Fed's benchmark rate to zero and pegging the value of the dollar to gold prices. She's not the first Trump pick for the Fed to advocate a return to the gold standard. With his two previous failed Fed choices, Stephen Moore and Herman Cain. Remember, Raising Cain? Is that the same Cain that is now? What is he over? Who is he over now? It's military. Oh, who is he over now? Also advocating for a review of policy. So, Fed Chair Jerome Powell slams idea of returning U.S. to the standard. Would Powell exit Fed Chair even if Trump fired him? No, he tells Congress. Well, he wouldn't have a choice, right? So in picking Shelton, Mr. Trump, or President Trump to you, is aiming to place a supporter on the Federal Reserve, which he's argued is slowing economic growth and depressing the stock market by keeping it too high. So this is nothing new. He had the same battle back in his first administration. The Fed currently is maintaining its benchmark rate at a range of 2.2 or 2.25% to 2.5%. But Shelton has said she wants to lower rates as fast as efficiently as expeditiously as possible. To be sure, President Trump's second pick, economist Christopher Waller, holds more mainstream economic views. The research director at the Federal Reserve Bank of St. Louis, Waller, has expressed support for the independence of the Federal Reserve and allowing inflation to run a bit higher in order to help the economy recover from slowdowns. I don't understand how having interest rates higher does anything. All it does is it makes things harder for people to be able to spend money on things on necessities. So, like President Trump, Shelton has a history of attacking the Fed's policies and supporting the gold standard, a monetary policy rejected by most mainstream economists as antiquated. The planned nominations were announced by President Trump. They would not say Mr. Obama or Mr. Biden or Mr. Bush. Maybe Mr. Bush, because back then, people still had this, this narrative of not liking anything Republican, which, Bush was. But still, President Trump, in a tweet late Tuesday, each must be confirmed by the Senate. So what exactly is the gold standard? It's a policy that links the value of a country's currency to gold. The U.S. adopted it in 1879, and it allowed consumers, banks, and businesses to exchange a dollar for actual gold. That may sound like a solid deal, but given that actual gold would back up your bucks. But there's a downside. A country can only issue as much money as it has backed by gold. Well, if we got all the money, and if rumor has it, and you talk about President Trump bringing back the gold from the Vatican, and the upshot is that countries with gold standard have less flexibility to respond to financial crises or economic downturns. Currently, the U.S. dollar isn't tied to any specific asset. No, it's tied to the oil. And don't forget, that's where you get petrodollar, right? Granted, I'm not an economist, but when I think of petrol, I think of your gas. Back in petrol is an old English word for gas. That's what England calls gasoline, is petrol. And I've done many, talked about how the U.S. between World War I and World War II, how that all, that was all those were events that, and the market crash of 1929, that those were all manipulated events to get us to where we are when it comes to the gold. Because it was all about the economy. We gotta do this thing. So when did the U.S. abandon the gold standard? The long goodbye to the gold standard began with the Great Depression, when panicked consumers sought to trade dollars for gold. The country's gold reserves from becoming depleted, the U.S. had to offer high interest rates as an alternative, which in turn made it more expensive to lend money and hampered the country's ability to rebound from the Depression. That's also how we ended up with the income tax too. It was just another way of enslaving us and just stealing our money. In response, President Franklin, here we go. They call him President Franklin Roosevelt, suspended the gold standard in 1933, a move which is widely credited with helping the country climb out of the Depression. That's because the decision allowed the government to lower interest rates and pump money into the economy. But the U.S. still allowed for foreign governments to trade dollars for gold until President Nixon abolished the policy in 1970 as a way to keep gold reserves from depletion. I wonder what they did with all that gold. Who took it? Why did Shelton and others want to return to the gold standard? Shelton argues it would mark a return to stability and hamper other governments from currency manipulation. In a Wall Street Journal opinion piece, she wrote, "The classical gold standard established an international benchmark for currency values, consistent with free trade principles." She added, "Today's arrangements permit governments to manipulate their currencies to gain an export advantage. Others argue that the gold standard would keep U.S. spending under control because the country would be limited in its ability to issue money." So why do mainstream economists believe it's a fringe view? The U.S. economy has grown in complexity since 1971 and certainly since 1933, making the policy less feasible than in earlier eras. And a return to the gold standard could, in effect, tie the Fed's hands because the central bank would be focused on gold prices, which are partially based on how much of the commodity is being mined. A gold standard regime would be a disaster for any large advanced economy, said University of Chicago economist Anil Kashyap. Interesting name there. Supporting the gold standard implies macroeconomic literacy. The price of gold, by the way, is up more than 11% this year. Remember, this is back in 2019, so this is not a current news. Passing 1,400 an ounce this week. Bearish investors have been rushing to buy gold the past few months amid concerns that global growth is slowing, especially if U.S.-China trade tensions worsen. Gold jumped further Wednesday as investors saw President Trump's Fed picks as yet another sign the U.S. central bank won't be raising interest rates anytime soon. So, in this making news again. So the gold shall destroy the Fed. And again, like I said, I mean, what's been in the news? President Trump has been all over Jerome Powell lately, and he has been requesting his resignation. He's like, he needs to resign. Okay, 33.94. Let's see what we got here. So Jill and Joe made more than $15 million 2 years after leaving the White House. Return show. You know, for everybody who wants to say President Trump to show his, already know his tax returns were leaked, and we know at least in 2005 or was it 2005 or 2015, he actually overpaid his. You know, because the way you do it when you're in that bracket, is it? I think it's the 25% bracket or up over that. What they do is there's it gets really complicated because there's an amortization. There's you know, you have the choice. You can anticipate what your taxes are going to be, and you pay into it on a quarterly basis, and then at the end of the year, you know, and you can actually get penalized if you actually overpaid. Go figure. You know, not only do you get penalized for underpaid, but you can get penalized for overpaying. Well, I mean, whether President Trump has the authority or not, I hope we need to get rid of the Fed. We need to get out of NATO. We need to get out of the WHO. We need to get out of the UN. There's a lot of things we need to do. We need to get rid of them all. So, former Vice President Biden and wife Jill made more than $15 million in the 2 years after he left office. He made the most money last year among Democratic presidential candidates who have released their tax returns so far. So Joe Biden and his wife earned more than $15 million in the 2 years after he left the Obama administration, according to tax returns released by presidential campaign. The couple reported about $11 million in adjusted gross income in 2017. The reports from 2016 through 2018 show. They followed it up with another $4.6 million in adjusted gross income last year. Their income spiked from about $396,000 in 2016. So how does that happen? Really? I mean, well, he wrote a book. So the Bidens paid about $3.7 million and 1.5 or 1.5 million in 1.5 in taxes for 2017 and 18, respectively. About a third of their adjusted gross income. They gave roughly, oh, come on, stop doing that. They gave roughly $1 million and $275,000 to charity in 2017 and 18, respectively. Biden easily raked in the most money in the last 2 years among 2020 Democratic presidential candidates who have released tax returns so far. After the former vice president left the White House in January 2017, the Bidens pulled in millions from Joe's speaking engagements and books written by both Joe and Jill. The money Biden accumulated after his decades-long career as over 50 as an elected official clashed with the image he tried to craft as a humble champion of the working and middle class. Oh, that's right. I keep forgetting. I went to do deep dives in some of these people. The former senator from Delaware has referred to himself as a middle-class Joe and touted his efforts to lift up union workers' income families. Yeah, Mr. Bumble and Stumble himself. The 24 candidates trying to challenge President Donald Trump next year have both broadly preached a pro-worker message. Yeah, they pro-worker, but yet and lashed out at corporations during their campaigns. But it's the corporations that hire people. That's the thing. It's the corporations that keep them in jobs. And although I agree that they shouldn't price gouge, but and they deserve to make money too. I'm not necessarily big on big corporations. We need to get rid of the monopolies. Other major candidates from Kamala Harris to Bernie Sanders have reported recent spikes in income. Imagine that. Recent spikes in income as they run for president. Again, remember, this is from 2019. In a statement Tuesday, Biden campaign spokesman Andrew Bates disputed that Joe Biden's newfound wealth would affect his goals. He said the former vice president grew up in a blue-collar family and that was forced to move away from home in order to make ends meet. Yeah, right. Fighting for working families has been the defining cause of Joe Biden's life, and first event of his campaign was hosted at Pennsylvania Union Hall, where he blasted Donald Trump's tax breaks for the rich. I mean, they keep saying that's tax breaks for the rich and big corporations. Well, I mean, okay, think about this. Just like an individual, why would an individual want to be paying more taxes? I mean, corporations and, they shouldn't. I mean, they already are taxed. They pay probably more in taxes than the little guy. How many people get a refund? When you're like in the 12 or 10 to 12 percent income bracket, I mean, and you get a refund. I mean, it's easier to figure out ways because you get tax credits, you get, depending on how many children you have. I mean, it's just, this whole idea that the rich, I mean, anyway, he's running to restore the American middle class with everybody. Oh, yeah, right. We say, no, he's trying to put us in. You remember Build Back Better. That is a UN Agenda 2030 narrative. The Build Back Better. They want to say that. They want to gaslight. You talk about gaslighting. Regardless of race, gender, religion, or sexual orientation, in on the deal this time. The couple primarily made its money from book deals. Of course they did. Do you know how easy or how hard it is to make a book deal or have a book made? Unless you use AI, and I refuse to use AI. Joe and Jill Biden reported about $10 million in 2017. Income from Celtic, Capri, and Giacoppa S corporations paid for the book deals and speaking engagements. In the 2017 Republican tax cuts backed by Trump and slammed across the 2020 Democratic field gave a new 20% break to owners of S corporations and other entities. Well, guess what? It also helped the little man. It helped the little people. It helped people who were middle class who have 401ks. I mean, people's 401ks back then were, making it. Let's see. Biden's made about $3.2 million from the same businesses to 2018. So why isn't anybody griping about Biden's making $3.2 million? Why? So Biden's book, Promise Me, Dad, came out in November 2017, more than 2 years after son Beau died. Joe Biden's book, Where the Light Enters, was released in May. The former vice president got paid 5 or 6 figures for more than 40 speaking engagements during 2017 and 2018, according to a separate financial disclosure form filed by his campaign. He took in as much as $190,000 for a lecture at Drew University in New Jersey in March of 2018. During both 2017 and 18, Biden was the Benjamin Franklin Presidential Practice Professor at the University of Pennsylvania. Jill taught at Northern Virginia Community College. They reported about $461,000 and $500,000 income from teaching. And I would like to know if he was a person teaching. I would like to see a former student is. Wouldn't that be interesting to see what the former student says? Okay, I'm going to take this share down because I am getting too many tabs open, and then I will bring it. All right. So, again, 15 million plus more personally declared. What an amazing coincidence. You think think yesterday's drops disguised under book deals. Okay, so I don't have that link. So this is worth remembering. Planned 1 + 1 = 2. Remember President Trump's, we're still under a lot of executive orders that never went away. Oh, imagine that. It's not found. So those orders, a lot of President Trump's executive orders are still in play. I'll have to go do a dig on some of these executive orders. Okay. But anyway, the article was Presidential Actions Executive Order Blocking Property Persons Involving Serious Human Rights Abuse Corruption. So let's go. So 3396 regarding Bill Clinton. Was it Bill Clinton? BCRC Epstein plane pick. Did the FBI DOJ interview RC? Who's RC? Oh, sorry. When did public awareness grow across social media? Class 1 through 99 in brackets. Oh, Rachel Chandler. Okay, so Bill Clinton, Rachel Chandler. What age is Rachel Chandler in picture? Under the age of 18. She was 15, so this indicates she might have been 15 in brackets. Who posted the picture? RC. Who posted internal security cam pitch or temple, which is Epstein's temple? IG. Untouchable mindset by all involved. Blackmail, power, top-down protection, plane plus temple plus XYZ pictures equals witness. I wonder if that could be witness protection too. Witness plus classification or class 1 through 99 question mark in brackets. Why did RC form a modeling talent agency? Why was RC Epstein and the M Temple highlighted in the past? Dark to light, these people are sick. There is a possibility. If y'all were here earlier with the, how much, and this of course Bill Maher, isn't it interesting, Bill Maher, I wonder if his strings were cut. He's been saying some new, let's see, new title to be determined. This is 3397. But if those Epstein files, at this point I don't care anymore about any of this until the real deal starts happening, and we see more of the big arrest. I really, but I noticed that I mentioned earlier, I noticed that Pam Bondi had dark circles under her eyes a few months ago when she first made the announcement, and so that she's been up. She's, something is bothering her, and let's see. But if those case or whatever, if the Epstein stuff maybe has to do with satanic rituals. This is 2022. If this spike in trans children is biological, why is it regional? Okay. No joke and or reference regarding Epstein. No attempt to connect back to POTUS. Silence. Hunted. Remember the hunted is now the hunter is now the hunted. So that's not so funny now. And this is just kind of a thing. I'm not gonna watch that. I don't think. See what it says or what it has. Oh yeah, this is the drone fish of the island. So I'm not gonna. So welcome to Epstein's Island. Ask yourself, is this normal? What does a temple typically symbolize? What does an owl symbolize? Dark religion. Tunnels underneath. How many channels captured on Rachel Chandler's pics? Room indicates size. Hallway shown. Class 1 through 99. Symbolism will be the downfall. These people are evil. And this just says believe coincidence. So Michael Flynn changes his story, putting him on collision course with Judge, and this is just tying. So I'm telling you, there's something odd about. You look at his. I don't know if you can see that, but you look at his nose here. Here. His jawline here. That's my opinion. That's just my opinion. And then again, here are the tunnels. So there's 14 channels. Note 2013 on the bottom. Date important. There's July the 19th, 2013. Then it says 3402. I see at least 3 staircases. Degree of incline indicate depth. So how far does it go? And then the flight logs. And of course, we already know that President Trump was on the flight. At least one flight from Florida to New York. But we also know that he kicked Epstein out of Mar-a-Lago when he found, although it's not named who it was, what girl it was that Epstein was supposedly had been making passes or inappropriate things. I kind of suspected it was Virginia Roberts. She went by Roberts back then, and it's odd. It is kind of odd because the thing is they say, well, why haven't they released testimony? They did release her stuff. They released her statement, and we had that. We did, we at PSB, we did dives on all that back in the day when that came out. So, July 19th, 2013, real time with Bill Maher, HBO. This is the World Youth Day for the Catholic Church. I mean, this is a big jamboree. Look at that. This is where all the kids in the world get together with priests. What could go wrong? So, follow the date. One example. No coincidences. Okay, I'm going to stop that share real quick, and I'm going to reset it so I can go back to the next delta for the 10th. Okay, let's see what all we got down here. Oh, I can't look at that one. The one with the babies. No, I can't look at that. I mean, I don't know if y'all saw the one I showed a picture of when my daughter she lost her first baby, and I showed you the picture of what he or she looked at like when he or she stopped growing at 10 weeks, and my daughter carried for another month before, because she had lost what they did at work. They fired her right after she lost the baby, so she didn't have insurance to pay for to have them, which is probably a good thing. You think about it, them to do in DNC, even though technically people would say it's not an abortion. It was probably a good thing that the baby passed on its own. So reality is hard to swallow. Fake news keeps you asleep or sheep and fixed in a pre-designed false reality and narrative. Yeah, just imagine Google altering search results to support the pre-designed narrative and prevent and make harder for one to learn the truth. And that's in question marks. Those with influence who challenge the narrative are banned, shunned, threatened. Planned Parenthood is good narrative. China is not a threat narrative. Do you know the market price for fetus or baby? Correlation of market price and days old of fetus / baby. This, as age or days increases, so does the value. And I'm not going to read that, because it's just Senate to vote on Born Alive bill to protect infants who survive a failed abortion. And I just look at all these states who are either having something, abortion, no longer, Roe v. Wade has been overturned, so it goes back to the states. So D's block Born Alive bill. Planned Parenthood political donations. What party? Do you believe this has anything to do with a woman's right to choose? Welcome to the real world. And I remember, I remember when the Moses Law went into effect, and I can't look at that. It's so sad and disgusting that people actually think that that's okay. I can't look at that picture. This is Epic Times. So unchallenged allegations of a DNC computer hack permeated nearly all media coverage and were sprinkled throughout much of the Mueller report, but analysis of the files themselves shows otherwise. I don't remember Chris mentioned it, with all the flooding, nobody's looking at, everybody's forgetting that Brennan and Comey are now under investigation. We got all these investigations going, and we got narratives, and don't get me wrong, I feel for those people, the people that are being affected by the floods and the rain and everything. I've been in those situations, so I know it's not easy. So this is the map where all illegal immigrants live. Perfectly overlays the blue counties where Democrats vote. So you can see that. And this is what we're trying to clean up. Until we clean this stuff up and get them out of here. And I don't know if any person, nobody has ever laughed, I think, at what is it? No, people are mad about the illegals. They're mad about the illegals coming in. And it's like I said before, if you are okay with an illegal coming in, you're basically okay with slavery. That's what they do. You think about it. They come in, people's like, who's picking the cotton or whatever, I mean, that's so, to me, that is so disturbing that people think that people who are here through a green card, through a work visa, which they are doing it the legal way, nobody really, I don't think anybody is against that. But the thing is this whole narrative, people don't want to work and they won't. It's a lie. It's a lie. Let's see. Acting Attorney General, Secretary of Homeland Security submit joint report impact of foreign. So only when the election harms the D party will they claim foreign interference. Keyword foreign. What about domestic interference? And that's what you're seeing right now is look at all the look how they're screaming. Look how the party is screaming. Oh no. And everybody doesn't like Trump. So non-citizen votes by county, non-citizen pro-my by county, non-citizen organization by county, targeted districts breakdown by non-citizen data, voter irregularities, internal -2 laws enacted in battleground areas as tests for 2020 voter roll screening review of non-votes. I bet you if we were to get rid of all the legals, we would find out that this nation is more conservative than what you think, and whether you want to go red or blue. Oh, that's something I forgot to ask Chris. What did she think about this whole idea with Elon Musk and the third party? The thing is we've been talking about having a third party, and during President Trump's first term, the MAGA party, or make it America First Party, because the problem is and we've mentioned it before, the Democratic Party, we know they don't hide it. The Republicans, those what we whether you want to call them rhinos, the old guard who been in politics for so long, and they've been compromised somewhere, or they were never conservative or Republicans in the first place. They did it because they knew they could get elected, and they talk about infiltration, they could change the party from within. Well, President Trump came and shook up the grand old party. I don't think it's the grand old party anymore. So whether we just image the Republican Party and call it something else, the Republican Party is not the way it's not what it used to be. So why do D's push for no voter ID in U.S. elections? Well, I agree with. I'm not too sure about Elon Musk either. I don't completely trust anybody, any politician, any spiritual leader. I don't completely trust them all, and which is sad because we should find someone we should be able to trust. I probably trust President Trump the most of everybody because I've seen what he can do, and I know he's fighting a fight. But ultimately, it's like I said before, it's all about God. It's all about, we talk about being biblical. It's all about how he's going to reveal himself to people. And I hope people open their eyes and open their hearts and open their ears to who God is and see God's glory. And my thing is, there's signs that are happening, but I also, it's like, when people talk about prophetic, prophecy coming to pass, it's not that I don't think that prophecy isn't coming to pass. It's just, is it supernatural? When I think of prophecy, I think of supernatural things. I don't think of man-made, stuff. And is it man doing it to push an agenda, or is it really, let's see, how can I put it? Because I have a feeling no matter how I try to explain it, it's not going to make sense. But God is in control. He's on his throne. I do believe that. And I do believe he allows certain things to happen, but I don't know. This is just my opinion. So why do D's push for open borders? Find the connection. Sometimes the map helps. What Supreme Court decision 6-3 ruled voter ID did not. So border fight, worth remembering. And we are in that border fight, remember. So here's another. GOP senators demand DOJ update Planned Parenthood fetal tissue probe. And that is 3408. And so looks like we're going to have some more Planned Parenthood news probably coming. So 3409, again, 2019. And it's interesting that a lot of the stuff is set back in 2019. I agree. Yep. That was, I meant to mention that a while ago. Not only did he kick Epstein out of Mar-a-Lago, but he's the only one. He actually talked to the AG in Florida in 2018, and he contacted the AG. He cleared his desk. So, I mean, and I've seen some theories that President Trump was compromised back in the 80s and blah, blah, blah. But you know what? If President Trump was compromised back then, why do you think that they killed his CEOs? Was it 5 CEOs? I think there's more to that. I think that's what made President Trump who he is, the man he is today when that happened. I think that is a lot to do with the women like Marla Maples and Ivana. I think that had a lot to do with his marriages and everything. But that, again, that's just a theory of mine. That is my opinion. So 3409, smoke and mirrors, fake news media attempt to truncate size of movement while building up size of opposition. Inauguration day to current attempts to diminish and instill a "you are the minority" mindset. Narrative continues. People want to believe they are part of the bigger group. Size equates to accuracy in most minds. Acceptance, the right size. I think that's, I think this is also kind of maybe alluding to what President Trump, what's going on with the Epstein stuff. Because everybody wants to believe they're part of a bigger group, and yet, the first time things don't go your way or it doesn't go what you expect, and people are ready to just jump off the bandwagon. I personally, I just take that 40,000 viewpoint, and it's like, it's a wait and see at this point. I think it's all a distraction until the real purposes are revealed. To me, a lot of this is just, I can't get too upset about it, because it is what it Yeah, I mean, people, I saw somebody say they're getting tired of that phrase, but it is what it is, until the truth is revealed. And that's all I can do, is I can just pray that the truth will be revealed. And I'm hoping for the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to come out. One of the primary purposes of POTUS holding a rally is to demonstrate the massive appeal, energy, and size of this movement, plus ability to correct false reporting and or highlight achievements, goals, etc. And it kind of goes back to what I was saying a while ago too about President Trump and what he was saying about when at his rallies, when he say, look at the media. If I said don't build a border wall, they would be screaming and wanting me to build a border wall. Compare and contrast 45 rally versus any single one of the D's. What is obvious and true? Why does POTUS mention crowd size at each and every rally? What is projected by the MSM? Lies become truths, truths become lies. Smoke and mirrors. See, I think this is what we are. We're under smoke and mirrors. You're the majority. People united and awake is their biggest fear. You think it's a coincidence we are being attacked aggressively by some of the biggest media corporations in the world right after our return? If we were simply a conspiracy or a LARP and some kid living in a basement, as stated repeatedly, why do the world's largest media companies continue to dedicate so much attention and time to attacking us? Exactly. I mean, President Trump hasn't, ever since 2015 when he put his hat in the ring, they have not left him alone. Even when he quote unquote left the White House in 2021, they still have not left him alone. Even when he went, the 6-month period when he wasn't out, he wasn't doing anything, he wasn't saying anything, they still would come after him. So billion-dollar CEOs expending resources to stop a LARP, billion-dollar CEOs expending resources to attempt to shape the mindset or narrative to prevent and slow digestion of the masses. You attack those you fear the most. Why does the media rush to shape events? Why are the same keywords always used? Psych 101. If you see and hear the same thing over and over again, they do not want you thinking for yourself. They do not want you challenging their authority. Logical thinking always wins. Trust yourself, always. Attack will intensify. Fake news, arm of the D party, enemy of the people. Think about this. What is it, Psycho 101? I mean, when you go on social media and you see the same meme over and over again, or you see the same person putting the same post over and over again, it's like, who came up with the idea of taco? Calling President Trump taco. Where did that come from? And all of a sudden, over and over again, where's that same post about, oh, we have a felon in the White House and he wants to throw people into the alligators? I mean, where did that come from? Where did the whole idea that some President Trump can control the weather because the cuts, considering that the cuts haven't even taken place, or how about the fact that the Weather Service came out and said that they were fully staffed? The cuts are all about the fraud and abuse. It's not about, and I don't know about you guys in your area, but I know in Corpus and the places I've lived in, is the weatherman was a joke. Half the time they got it wrong. It's like with after Katrina back in 2005, and right after that it was Wilma, and Wilma was supposed to be headed our way, to Corpus, and we had a mandatory, because of what happened with Katrina, we had a mandatory shutdown. Everybody had to leave, or everybody was encouraging to leave, and some people went north, some people went south, because it's supposed to miss the south, and those who left, some of them actually turned right around and came back because it found out there was a dud. There was nothing there. So schools were shut down. The city was shut down. People could have, that city could have been robbed blind during that time in 2005. So 3410, stealth bomber, date of first flight, date of Mueller's testimony, A, B, C, D, E, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, B2. I'm not sure about that. So 3411, you're witnessing the greatest coordinated misinformation attack campaign ever to be launched against the public, all in an effort to protect themselves from prosecution, public exposure, and regain power or control. Remember what happens to an animal that's cornered. I think we're seeing the death spiral personally. Attempted removal of the duly elected president of the United States by illegal manufactured means. They believe they could win or con the public support by controlled assets, media, tech, Hollywood. These controlled assets set out to immediately create division through the use of pre-designed misinformation campaign. Yeah, I'm getting tired, so I'm having a hard time reading. Let's see. Groups such as Antifa. Where did Antifa go? I know we get every once in a while we get BLM in the news, but where did Antifa go? Were funded and formed to prevent and or lessen the appeal up for regular, hard-working Americans to gather and express non-narrative viewpoints. Control of this projected narrative depends primarily on their ability to con the masses into thinking they are the majority. The mindset of most, if the majority of people believe that this, then this must be more true than the clowns class 1 through 99, 56, human psyche and emotional distress. Remember, I think a lot of this new stuff is like with the border, it's to keep people stressed so they're not thinking. Without public support, they are powerless. We, the people, uphold power. And united, we are strong. That whenever any form of government becomes destructive, and this is, I think, in the Constitution, right? Whenever any form of government becomes destructive, or maybe this is a Benjamin Franklin quote, destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or abolish it and to institute a new government. I think this is what you're seeing we're instituting a new government. You're basically, we're breaking it down all the way to the foundation. So laying its foundation on such principles and organizing its powers in such form as to them shall seem most likely to affect their safety and happiness. Prudence, indeed, will dictate that governments long established should not be changed for light and transient causes, and accordingly all experience has shown that mankind is more disposed to suffer, while evils are sufferable, than to right themselves by abolishing the forms to which they were accustomed. It's in fact, and basically what it's saying is we've been enslaved for so long that we don't understand that it's easier to go along instead of standing up for ourselves. So how many people don't like change? It takes me a while to get used to change and be okay with change. When you have to change, it's very uncomfortable. But when a long train of abuses and usurpations pursuing invariably the same object evinces a design to reduce them under absolute despotism, it is their right, it is their duty to throw off such government and to provide new guards for their future security. So you are witnessing the systematic destruction of the old guard. So I think this is the key. So whatever we're seeing, whatever narrative that's happened, whatever president has done, President Trump and his administration are doing, it's the destroying the old guard. You got to break everything down to rebuild it. Let's see, is this the? I think this is the Trump. I want to mute this. Isn't this new? Didn't this just what was this B-2 stealth bomber take off? Isn't that what they used to bomb Iran? Off those nuclear forces? Or maybe I'm wrong. It looks like the same thing. Interesting about that, huh? Okay. Alright. Okay, so that was all the posts for July the 10th. Alright, okay. Oh, this is about the Nexium. Still more Epstein stuff. Okay. So this is 3413, July 2019. It's interesting. There's so many Trumps in 2019. Imagine that. So, Lockheed awarded contract for B-2 refurbishment. So, do you believe in coincidence? So, there's a lot of stealth bomber that's from the last drop. I don't even bother with trying to decode anything anymore. So 3414, only anons can fully appreciate the continued validations, confirmations through covert series of mathematically impossible coincidences, means and orders to maintain structural integrity. Wheels up. Isn't President Trump supposed to be going to another country this weekend too? Hey, the Landrys. So court rules President Trump can defund Planned Parenthood, will cut almost $60 million in taxpayer funding. Look at how they're trying to stop his agenda. I mean, these activist judges. And I saw that the Supreme Court has blocked Florida from, I can't remember if it had to do immigration or not. So Planned Parenthood news, more coming. So be prepared for more news on Planned Parenthood. So let's see, 3416. I think the war room and links to key proofs and tools are essential components of the bread. Oh, you know what? They are up here to help anons and new lurkers to queue research. It is one post per bread that has vital information for anons and newfangs and normies. It has the links to the sealed court cases. If you cut that out of the bread, you're cutting out the heart of Q research. That war room bread post will be essential to new eyes coming on the boards. The shields attack bakers all the time in the bread, and they have since the beginning. As a long time anon, I don't think this is a wise choice. Also, CAPTCHA did not stop any shields. It just made things more difficult for all of us. Is that supposed to be CAPTCHA? Like when you're trying to post something important fast, you get stuck in CAPTCHA hell for a minute or two. As BO, you should discuss these decisions with NNs, bakers, and BVs before one person decides to change the way the bread has been since November 2017. I strongly disagree with shortening the bread and killing the war room research link quotes. I'm not sure what all that was about. So we got Allison Mack. Allison Mack is naming names. Why does Linda D. Rothschild connect? How does LDR connect to the Brofmans? Find the bridge. Find Think Company. How is Brofman connected to Nexium? Go backwards. Nexium. Who plead guilty? And this is Claire Brofman. Allison Mack. When does the birds sing? Watch. Here we go. Watch New York City. What's happening in New York City right now? News unlocks 5x5 or 5-5. So, sheep no more. Okay, this is just some more. This is just doubling down on stuff. So what city was Epstein arrested in? New York City. 5-5. Watch California. Look what's happening in California. Wow. Let's see. And then R. Kelly arrested on federal sex crime charges. So there's something that I've been wanting to look into, because if you think about it, let's see. Hammer. I think I got 10 posts on just Hammer. Anybody remember? I think it was during the flight or the bombing of Iran. I think someone said something. I think President Trump says hammer. You know, they dropped the hammer. Let's see. This was actually January 21st, 2018. Will Sessions dropped the hammer 1/22. Memo shifts the narrative. Memo reinstates Sessions' authority. Russia. Memo factually demonstrates collusion at highest levels. Memo factually demonstrates Hussein and men weaponize intel community to ensure victory plus insurance. Memo factually demonstrates knowingly false intel provided to FISA judges to obtain warrants. We've already seen they're starting to squawk about election integrity in 2020. And let's see, gosh, there's something about the, we're still hearing about Russia And that's what Comey and Britain are being investigated up, right? The 16-year plan to destroy America, they never thought she would lose. Hussein was 8 years. Install rogue ops. Leak intel military assets. Cut funding to military command away from generals. Launch good guy takedown. Internal remove. Valerie Jarrett was a sniffer. Sell off. Snowden open source. Prism key score catastrophic to U.S. military versus bad actors. Plus clowns, no such agency. Target weakened conservative base. Open border. We already know that. Blind eye North Korea. Building nuclear. Plus blind eye Iran. Fund and supply. Another blind eye classification stage. But is that Supreme Court? Uranium 1 fund supply Iran, North Korea. Kill. KILL. NASA prevent space domination. Allow bad actors to take down military sat. That is one thing about Starlink. You know, they actually have slowed down launches in Starlink in the last 2 months. I think. I mean, at least I don't see anything. I got rid of that local app, that Nextdoor app, because there's just too many fools on there. I'm sorry to say. And I just couldn't stand the negativity and the idiocy, and you know, it's bad enough I see it on Facebook, but secure comms install WMDs, risk of empty space organization. So HRCs next 8 years. World War III, death and weapons. Real fake war. I mean, that's what we're seeing now. I think we're seeing I think what we're seeing, like in Gaza, I think it's a fake. I think all of this is fake. The Ukraine and, you know, that whole thing with President Trump sending, I don't know. You know, that's the thing. When they caught President Trump sending weapons to Zelensky, was that a real? Did he actually say that, or was that a manipulated video? That's the reason why I don't like to listen to this stuff anymore, because all it does is it gets you frustrated, gets you angry. It's not that I think we should just bury our head so much. It's just until the truth comes out, we don't know what's true anymore. We don't know what's fake, what's not fake. We don't know what they're really after, what they're doing. So, what's really going on? We really don't know what's really going on. I don't care what the news media say. Let's see. Eliminate final rogue ops within government or military. KILL, economy, starve, need, enslave. That's what they're still trying to do. They're trying to starve us. That's the reason why we have high inflation. You know, and it's funny because when President Trump says gas prices are down, well, whenever your prices of oil comes down, your gas prices should be coming down. If it's not coming down, there's something wrong where you're living. It's, you know, look towards the locals, look through your state. Maybe it's a county, maybe it's the local. So keep them starved, keep them blind, keep them stupid. And let's see, that's a HRC March Intercept in 2013. Fight. Ooh, fight, fight, fight. How about that? Fight, fight, fight. Okay. Oh, gosh. Maybe we could do the hammer next week. And I'm going to try to do, I gotta figure out, I still gotta figure out how to do Rumble so Chris and I are talking, that y'all can hear Rumble, because I don't know about you, if you are still here from earlier and I had Rumble. It was fun because I saw some chatters, and it was just really fun to have chat in there, and I really want to do that more. So I gotta figure out why. I know why, but there's got to be a way I can add. There's just got to be a way I can add the sound from here without using OBS, if possibly. I'm going to try. Let's see. Let me see if I can find a video real quick to take us out on before I turn over to Mr. 5.
And
I gotta figure out how to do my folders of Firefox now, since Pocket is going by the wayside. So I'm going to put out my Rumble again. Just for those who don't know, I started my Bible study. I started live streaming my Bible studies on Rumble. Again, I've got it figured out, I think, that I can. I just got to figure out the sound. But, good morning. Oh, yeah, you've already said good morning. And
good morning, yeah.
Good morning. Let me see. Yes, I know. I know Pocket is shutting down. But you said I could still access until October. Alright. Oh gosh. Alright. Alright. I guess I won't be able to do that anymore. Alright, let's see. Oh my. Sorry, I don't mean to go silent and trying to do 3 different things at once.
I was going through my old stuff today, and I got a nice flyover up Epstein's Island.
You do? Yeah, I saw that. I mean, I saw the. Actually, doing the deltas, we found the drone footage.
Yeah, I've got. Well, I don't know if it's that Shackerfield one. It's not. I don't think it's his. I think it's another one. But either way, I've got it in my save stuff. I've got it. I mean, we know what the island looks like.
Mm-hmm.
So that ain't nothing.
Now, I'm just trying to find a video I can play, and I'm going down to my. Okay. Oh, here we go.
Yep.
I gotta figure out how I'm gonna. Now that Pocket is going away, I gotta figure out how I can still use. Okay. Let's do. I'm gonna do this one if possible. So I would think, if do you mind, Poe, if I just take a few minutes to do a
No, I don't.
video?
I don't care. I'm just a fill-in. You take all the time you want.
All right. Hopefully this will work.
Yep, it's working. Well, I see the. There you go.
Does it make you feel the way I feel when it dances in the sky? When you place your hand against your heart, do you know the reason why? Is it just some colored thread weaved from a bow? Or does it make you think about the ones who sacrificed it all? This life, a picture painted in the wind, going through each generation, never giving in. This flag, it stands for more than just one thing. It stands for life and liberty and you and me. It stands for everything. This flag, it is strong in the face of danger, but some choose to burn it down. Well, if the ashes fly, no, I won't cry, 'cause it all comes back around to what it really means to be free and what is in your heart. So they can tear it all down to the ground, but that'll never tear us apart. This flag, a picture painted in the wind, blowing through each generation, never giving in. This flag, it stands for more than just one thing. It stands for life and liberty and you and me. It stands for everything. This flag, red, white, and blue, colors fade over time. What do they mean to you? Will you let it die? Please don't let it die. This flag, a picture painted in the wind, blowing through each generation, never giving in. This flag, it stands for more than just one thing. It stands for life and liberty and you and me. It stands for everything, yeah. It stands for life and liberty and you and me. It stands for everything. This flag.
Good tune. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning, and I agree. So everybody, if you will, if you are already following me in Rumble, I do have like on the way in prayer and journey through the Bible as two different channels, and it's kind of like what Glory did when he set up the archive. So if you can go ahead and follow me, it'd be great. And just a reminder, I am doing live streaming on my Bible study, so hopefully one day y'all can join me. And I'm still working things out, so hopefully I can get it. I get the bugs and the kinks. I gotta figure out how to when I am doing, because I really like the live stream and simultaneous, and if we could just figure out the audio through Rumble, that'd be great. Anyway.
Yeah, I should figure out how to do the same thing.
Huh?
I said I should probably figure out how to do the same thing. I've got a lot of videos to share. You know, I should probably hook them up on Rumble or something. I really just set all this up for my kids, you know, so they could see it, you know what happened. So that's what was important to me. And I've got so much information. They're going to know what happened. So.
Well, load into Rumble is easy. It's trying to figure out how to do the live stream. And now they've got two ways.
I just spend so much time on this. I mean, I've got it. The system's downloaded. I just don't want to spend more time. You know, I've been at this for a long time, you know, so, you know, I don't want to, you know, I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean? I'd want to kind of, but I don't. I'm sick of doing this. You know, we've been at this for what, 8-9 years now? Really, I've been at it longer than that because I was fighting Obama, you know, so. I mean, I've been at this for a long time.
Yeah, I hear you. I'm ready. I'm ready for the show to be over. I'm ready for recovery. I'm ready for the war to be over. Let's get to the recovery part. And with that being said, I'm going to let you go. You have a great show. Enjoy yourself and have fun with chat. Until next week, until next time, go in peace, go in shalom.